Antonio Valeriano was a colonial Mexican Nahua scholar and politician. He was a collaborator with Fray Bernardino de Sahagún in the creation of the 12-volume General History of the Things of New Spain, the Florentine Codex. He served as judge-governor of both his home, Azcapotzalco, and of Tenochtitlan, in Spanish colonial New Spain. Career. Antonio de Valeriano was the most accomplished pupil and then native scholar at the Franciscan Colegio de Santa Cruz at Tlatelolco. As with other students at the Colegio, Valeriano was taught literacy in Nahuatl, Spanish, and Latin. Bernardino de Sahagún singled out Valeriano as one of my collaborators. Collegians expert in grammar. The principal and most learned of them was Antonio de Valeriano of Azcapotzalco. He was also praised by Franciscan Fray Juan Bautista, who preserved the last letter that Valeriano wrote him in Latin. Valeriano says that, "My hands are trembling, my eyes are clouded, and my ears closed, and signing as your most loving, but unworthy, Antonius Valerianus." Valeriano and other pupils and former pupils of the Collegio are to be credited with the collaboration with the Franciscans in creating religious texts, dictionaries, and other texts such as Sahagún's magnum opus of the General History of the Things of New Spain, the Florentine Codex. Question of authorship of the Nican-Mopoua. The question of Valeriano's authorship of the Nahuatl text known as Nican-Mopoua has become a point of contention in the long-running dispute over the historicity of the apparitions of the Virgin Mary to Juan Diego in 1531. The Nican-Mopoua was published in 1649 by Luis Lasso de la Vega as part of a composite text known from its opening words as the Hue la Mahui Cultica, and de la Vega's claims of authorship in the preface to that work notwithstanding. The Nican-Mopoua has long been attributed to Valeriano. This attribution is based on a tradition dating back to the Informaciones Jurídicas to 1666 and the assertions of Luis Becerra Tanco and, subsequently, Don Carlos de Siguenza y Góngora as to Valeriano's authorship and as to their acquaintance with the relative manuscripts in his handwriting. Suggestions have been made that its content is incompatible with someone who had close bonds with the Franciscans, and others have suggested that the Hue la Mahui Cultica is a unitary work which, despite the considerable objections against such a possibility, de la Vega wrote, with the assistance of a collaborator. Nevertheless, the general consensus among Mexican scholars remains that Valeriano is indeed the author of the Nican-Mopoua.